Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, powered by FanDuel Sportsbook. And you can get on the line right now, 412-575-2600. The lines are open on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. And we're going to be talking, I'm going to start the show off with the PIAA. The PIAA came out with an announcement today basically saying they had discussions with the governor's office. They're going to hold things right now. They're going to meet next Friday. They want a more informed opinion, essentially. But it sounds like to me that because they're still waiting and they didn't make a decision now or, sooner, that it sounds like they're going to try to make a go of this. And I don't have a problem with that. Try it, at least with sports like golf, tennis, cross country. I think cross country definitely can be played this fall, despite what some people are saying out there. I mean, I ran cross country. I did it on a high level in high school and college, and there's no one congregating at finish lines, a bunch of people. The only concern would be is if at the start, when there's a bunch of guys there together running, potentially that could cause spread. But, I mean, you have 3 miles in high school or 5 miles in college where you could spread out really, and you could find places to watch. I know my dad used to go all over the course and, get me at the 1 mile marker, the 2, whatever you could, and be at the finish line. But no one would be around them. And then I would see him at the finish line when I crossed and I walked over. And that's how it usually goes, even with the biggest meets around here. So I definitely think, despite what some people are saying, cross country is a go-to. Football's the one concern. I saw Central Catholic tweeted something out today about in Penn Hills, I know, is on board with playing. I know all these high schools really want to play around here. I think it can be done. I think maybe they should attempt it. I have Chris Mueller on the other side over at the 93.7 The Fan Cam. What do you think, Chris?
Well, Richie, I mean, you were running cross country in high school and college. There was nobody congregating at the finish line because you were dusting them by so much.
You're right. That's another point I didn't make. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I ran cross country for 1 year, and I mean, there was nobody at the finish line because they had packed up and gone home by the time I was finishing these courses. But I mean, in all seriousness, I did run cross country. I did play golf all 4 years of high school in addition to playing basketball, which obviously a much more close contact, team-oriented sport. Those individual sports, I actually am in agreement. You can hold those races, and honestly, my solution to the idea of, hey, you've got people congregating in a cross-country race, specifically at the start, give them disposable masks, tell them they've got to wear the masks for the first, while they're starting, and then like any cross-country runner, or if you see people at a marathon, people wear hooded sweatshirts because it's cold in the morning and they discard them within the first 200 yards or whatever. I mean, you can do something very easily like that, I would think, that would be easy for these people to adhere to, boys and girls cross-country. The whole thing, and I'll go back to saying this just about football, because I know that's the one most people care about here. I never took what Tom Wolf and his offices were saying as some sort of mandate, and that seems to have been the hang-up here, that it was treated like a mandate, that people responded to it like a mandate with worry, with angst, with anger. It was a recommendation. So this seems like, all this dialogue, Richie, and I don't know what you think here, this seems like an effort by parents, by school districts, by all concerned parties to just try to get the governor's office, the health department, and everything else more on board with this to head off any liability concerns down the road if student athletes should get infected.
I was just going to say that before you finish that. I think it's all about liability. What I don't understand, Chris, is I don't understand why the governor wouldn't mandate it. I mean, he's recommending it, but why is he putting it on the PIAA? And then from potentially the PIAA could put it on each district, from what I understand, and each school. So who's going to take responsibility here? At some point, it's just like the NCAA. There needs to be some leadership here to say, yes, we're playing, or no, we're not playing.
Well, I think if you're the governor here, you've been, now granted, the polling seems to suggest that people are happier with it than maybe social media would tell you as far as his governance during all this. But it's a huge decision. It affects tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of kids in the state without knowing the exact numbers. I think it's a tough decision for anybody. I think they're trying to, live in both worlds, keep people as safe as possible and be mindful, respectful, deliberate about a decision that's going to affect that many people. That is a big deal for a lot of people. There are scholarships to be won or lost, gained or not gained because of this. So I think this is one of those rare issues where the situation that everyone's trying to prevent and the situation that would be directly affected by it, kids playing sports or not, is so touchy that nobody really wants to kind of go all in on a decision. And to be honest, this is the answer nobody wants to hear. It's hard for me to blame anybody involved for feeling that way. It sucks. This is like in a lot of ways, the worst sort of side effect beyond the disease itself. This is sort of the one I feel the most sympathy for the people who want to get games going, because I can understand where they're coming from.
I agree, and that's why I say if you're the governor, you just say, hey, we're not playing sports until January. You can play cross country, golf, potentially
well,
tennis.
What do the football players say, though? I mean, seriously, if
everyone wants to play. You ask any of
to...
these high school kids, they want to play. Everyone wants to play.
I understand that, but if you tell them that if you tell football players at schools or soccer players or any team sport that goes off in the fall, that the cross country, the tennis, any golf, any sport that you can actually play in a socially distant manner in a reasonable way, if you tell them that they're allowed to play but those football players aren't, people are going to go crazy. I mean, you can't split the baby here, and that's the problem. So I've got to believe that Tom Wolf probably is in a position where he doesn't want to put a mandate down, and he's going to attempt to let districts and parents decide for themselves.
Yeah, I just think it's tough because you have some schools that are going to want to play, some schools that are not going to want to play. So, I mean, what's the competition going to be like? What's the format going to be like? I mean, if you just push everything back, then you can maybe kind of keep some,
I think there need to be
unity.
waivers. I mean, I think there need to be some, not waivers, that's not the right word, but we've seen kids play for different high schools in certain sports because their high school can't field a team, for example. That's something that happens. I want to say it happened with Dane Jackson, who actually went to Cornell High School, but I want to say played for Quaker Valley, if memory serves correctly.
Well, Cornell didn't have a football team then, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So Dane Jackson played football somewhere else at a close school. I think you have to have arrangements like that. If that's what it comes down to, especially with the smaller districts, if you have one district that says we're going to play and one that says no, that's neighboring, then you've got to try to find a way to accommodate the kids from that district that isn't going to play who still want to get on the field. You know,
I do want to ask you a question how this could relate to NCAA, but we got to take a break. I want to get to that after the break, though. Wondering if teams that don't play could transfer to schools that do play, or should they be allowed to do that at this point because they want to play in the fall? I'm going to get your answer to that afterwards. 412-575-2600 is the number. Back in a couple minutes.